Welcome, everyone, to the next perfect step, where all possibilities lie in conversation. I'm Lori Mullen, and I am happy to have this conversation today.
Hello, I'm Lori Tremblay. We're both excited to have our special guest, Carol Denise Ward, with us today. And Carol used to work for 3 decades in the corporate world. She was very accomplished in the corporate world and then left that. And she now has a BSBA with a concentration in accounting from Bryant University. She's a certified master healer from the Rise Thomas Institute, a certified promptings coach from the Promptings University, a certified art therapy teacher, and an ordained American marriage minister. So since leaving her corporate career in 2012, Carol studied the value of relationships and shows appreciation, and she studied the power of how our minds are the healing powers of being in alignment. I like that. She believes that this shift is something everyone can benefit from, and she wants to show you how to do that. Carol also co-authored a book called Worthy for More, which is a compilation depicting different women's journeys that transform them to the person that they are today. So welcome, Carol. We're so excited that you're with us today.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here, and I appreciate you guys inviting me.
Absolutely. So Lori, do you have some questions?
So on your website, you have a phrase that says, "Together, let's create magic and unlock possibilities and fill our existence with the vibrant and energetic hues of living," which I thought was just beautiful. So what does to you truly living mean?
Oh, wow. There's a big question to start with. uh, Truly living. I believe that when we step into our lives and really lean into the messages that we receive, the knowing that we have, that we can live so fully that it's incredible. You have a life of possibly working, not everybody does. Um, I like to travel, so that's a piece of my living fully, but spending time with family, spending time in community, all of those pieces come together and really allow us to be a full person as opposed to just heads down, working every day and never going outside of that lane. I think that we need to really listen to those inner knowings, those inner voices that help guide us to the reasons why we're here on this planet.
I love that. And you were talking about a little bit about intuition and listening to the messages and the voice inside you. And that's sort of how we named this podcast, is the next perfect step. You're listening for that next perfect step to take, or, just the next tentative step sometimes. But,
Absolutely. And honestly, that the name of your podcast is just so appropriate because I am constantly asking for guidance on what is that next step that I'm supposed to be taking. So I resonated completely with the name of this podcast.
that's great.
Yeah,
Can
we
you tell
love
us about
it.
hmm Can you tell us about some of your travels? That sounds exciting.
Yeah. So my husband and I do a variety of travel within the States. We like to go south and just live our lives in another place, is how we call it. It's not truly vacation because I still work wherever I am, but we're able to do it from a different vantage point and do it on a different schedule. But in addition to that, I have done some amazing sacred journeys that are just, they have truly opened up my mind to so much more. My first one was to Scotland back in 2017. And that was a beautiful journey that reconnected me with my ancestors because My father's family came from Scotland, so I actually could go back and feel the energy of that space, and that was so incredible. My next sacred journey was to Peru, which is where I don't know if you've ever stepped into a place and felt that your soul belongs there. It's like you've never been there before, but it feels like home. And that's what Peru was for me. So it was just this, wow, I'm here. This is where I'm truly at home, is in this country and amongst these incredible views and mountains and people. And it was just an unbelievable trip that I really hope to make again. And then the last sacred journey that I took was to Egypt.
Oh,
Again, a place that you just, it's so hard to wrap your head around the fact that I'm really like touching that pyramid that you've only seen in books your whole life. And it's so surreal that you're blown away by it. So being able to be in those and seeing it from a sacred journey aspect, as opposed to just being a tourist, is another depth of visiting those types of places.
Yeah,
I like
that's
that.
great. I mean, I love to travel too. I would love to go to Scotland. My family's from there too, and that's just really on my bucket list. But yeah, I just call it my ventures, right? Like it's not traveling. I'm on an adventure. I'm seeing something I've never seen before, and I do know that feeling when you're somewhere, you're seeing something you've never saw before, but you feel at home. You just feel like this is the place I'm supposed to be. Yeah, that's to me like what, living is. It's not the everyday grinding and working. It's, all the other stuff.
Yes. Yes.
So
Work
I love
is
that.
what we do to be able to pay for the rest of our life.
To pay for living, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So when I went to Scotland, by the way, that that was part of me living the way that I live, which is always on a leap of faith. So a woman sat down next to me at a networking event. We went around the table, told everybody what we did, and she tells the table that she's leading a sacred journey to Scotland. And I went, sign me up. And literally within 24 hours, I had signed myself up. I had booked the plane. I had called my father, who's still alive. He's in his 90s, and asked him about what he knew about our ancestry from there so that I could connect all those pieces. But that's how I live, is if it sounds right, I'm in.
I like that. Sign me
So
up.
yeah, it's sometimes it gets me in a little bit of trouble, but yeah.
Well, I think that's the magic of it, right? Of the next perfect step. When something presents itself to you and it's just so right for you that it's just easy. It's just magical. Like there's no real thought or stress about it. It just happens, right? And
Yes,
it's like that's the
absolutely.
magic of it. Like it's for you. Like that moment was almost like just presented to you on a silver platter because it was just easy.
Right. And afterwards, this woman tells me that she had been drawn to that table because she saw my bag sitting there and knew that whoever owned that bag was supposed to be on her trip with her. And I went, okay.
Yeah. Love those
So,
synchronistic moments,
yeah.
right?
And that's how I live. I dive in. When I get tapped on the shoulder, I dive in.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
You get to experience things you'd never expected. Like they say, beyond your wildest dreams, you get to experience those things.
Yeah, I never saw myself doing those types of travels, but when they are put right in front of me and it's like, okay, I guess I'm going.
Carol, I'm
Uh-oh.
wondering, how did you transition from the corporate world to a more spiritually minded life or career, I should say?
That that was an interesting journey. So when I left my corporate life in 2012, I was offered a safety net by a friend of mine who had her own company, and I took her up on it. She asked me to come in and do some back end work to get the infrastructure of her company better aligned and help her get it rolling in a new direction. And because she knew me through the software that we both supported, she knew that I was a good fit for her. So I stepped into that for a short period of time. But what that allowed me to do was create a home business environment because it was all working from home. It introduced me to networking that I had never done before. When you're in the corporate world, you don't realize how important networking is to being able to further yourself and further your business and further your causes. So it taught me how to step out and really listen to people and see what they're about and see all these things out there that you've never been exposed to. So, my first networking meeting, I was introduced to a woman who I am still great friends with to this day. She introduced me to the product that she was passionate about, which is Send Out Cards. It's an online greeting card system that led me into understanding, truly understanding the power of gratitude, and gave me a tool so that when I'm prompted to reach out to somebody, I have a tool that I can send them heartfelt thoughts that I've always wanted to do, but I just never found the time to do it, nor did I find the time to get to the post office. So that started my inner working of really developing my heart and really developing my voice. Because if you look at some of those early cards that I sent, I look at them and cringe because they were so neat, 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 very, very corporate still. And as opposed to a card that I'll send today that is so from the heart that you can see the transformation within that and you can see the growth. So that brought me into that journey. And that was in 2012. So then being with that environment all those years, I then realized one day that I had surrounded myself with so many spiritual people, unknowing that it was just a natural attraction to that type of lifestyle and those people and those energies. That when I was tapped on the shoulder once again to step into this program at the Reese Thomas Institute, I had no idea that it was an energy healing school, but I was ready for it at that time because of all of the life happenings that had gone on up until then. That when they told me I was going to do a healing the first day, I'm like looking at them like, who are you talking to? I don't do healings. Little did I know that that's what I had been doing my whole life, but not in a formal way. And not truly understanding that that was what I was doing. So I stepped fully into that school and did a full 3-year program with them, and then was so ingrained in that learning process that I wasn't ready to leave it after the 3 years. So I actually stepped into their grad program as well for another year. That brought me into a space with so many people of such like-hearted ways and ideas. It was amazing that they, as a group, have helped me to transform into who I am today. That I'm actually opening up a center that I'm signing the lease for in the morning. So that's going to be, yeah, like another thing that I was tapped on the shoulder, and here I am.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
great-
great. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's always something new and different with me. If you stick around long enough, I often have people on Facebook say that they feel like I'm the Where's Waldo because they never know what I'm going to be into or where I'm going to be here. So,
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your center, what you're offering at your center, where it is, so people can get a hold of it?
I would love to. So currently, like I said, I'm signing the lease in the morning. It's in downtown Westboro, Massachusetts, 21 East Main Street. And it's an old building that was built in 1900. And so it has beautiful giant windows. It's a brick building. I have half of the first floor. And what we're going to be offering there is a variety of modalities. So I have 3 treatment rooms that will have different types of energy healing, Reiki, the 4D full spectrum that I do. I have a Lightarian person. Then I have a coach's corner that's for that one-on-one coaching. Some people will come in and have grief coaching that they would like to be a part of. We have coaches that do leadership coaching. So it's not always about the energy, but it's a space that's going to hold the energy for this community. I also have a room that's being set up for tarot card reading and intuitive readings. So we can do that either as a one-to-one or as a group. It'll be set up so you can have a group up to like 4 or 5 people that want to all do their readings together, because sometimes people like to do that in community. And then one other treatment room that'll just be for our mini services. Like there's a biomat service that helps with your blood flow. You come in and lay on this warm mat that has crystals in it, and it infuses into the energy of the crystals, and it helps your blood flow better. So it really enhances your healing process. We have a beautiful space for meditation that anyone who's a member of the center can flow in and out of the meditation space. It'll always be set up for that quiet contemplative meditation with a music playing. Anytime that the center is open, it's open to the members to be able to just flow in and out of it, to the point where we're setting it up with curtains and not doors, so that it does have that flow feeling as opposed to that slamming of a door. Then we also have a space that I call the community space. So I want people to be able to come in and just feel that they belong there. If they want to come in and journal, they want to come in and talk to other members, they want to come in and hang out with some of the practitioners, or they want to check out a community board that we're going to set up, find somebody to be their walking buddy, or things like that. Just really being able to bring back that sense of community, because as you may know, being part of a community helps us physically, emotionally. So I really want to be able to offer that to our members. In addition to that, we have a room that's for events. So we'll be hosting all kinds of events. We'll do workshops, we'll do training, just straight up learning. Um, I can have meetings there if people need a space to host a meeting. So there's so many opportunities in this space that I can't wait to start putting all the pieces together. My garage is filling up with all the pieces that we've been collecting, getting ready for the lease signing. And it's so beautiful to know that we are creating this incredible community for people to be able to come in, feel like they belong, and feel like they can heal in a beautiful space.
Yeah, I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. And I think it's so needed right now, right? We need a community of like-minded people. I mean, many of us are changing and want to call it waking up or whatever. And we don't always have our family or our friends who are going through the same journey as us. And it,
Absolutely.
you don't want to, you don't necessarily want to get rid of all those people, but you want to find people of like mind, a community where you can go and have those conversations and be a part of something that's different, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, kudos to you. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
opening a space such as that.
Thank you. And part of setting this up is to get the community involved. So I'm actually launching a GoFundMe around this as well to show the community that we're all about asking for help and asking for commitment and participation by the community, because we're building a space for the people. So I want it to be built by the people.
Beautiful. That's wonderful, Carol. And I love the idea of connection and community because we need that. We're wired for connection. We're not supposed to be isolated. We're wired to be together and to heal each other and to help each other. So that sounds fantastic. Maybe we
Thank
should
you.
go
Yes,
visit, Lori.
I hope that you ladies can come and visit, because I think that it's once you step inside, you're just going to go. Oh. And this is so. Just to give you a little background on this center, again, me listening to the guidance, November 20th of last year. So we're only talking 7 months ago. I was given this vision that I'm like, no way. I'm not opening up a brick and mortar. What are you, crazy? And I was challenged to sit down and write everything that was coming in. Within 2 hours, I had 13 documents created that gave me details down to what furniture goes in each room. I was blown away. And I'm like, oh, Lord, I guess I'm doing this. And so it's just been building since then, pulling all the additional pieces, all the other details in. And I found the space within 2 weeks of that download. And the space became available when I needed it to become available. So it's all been such an incredible journey of just knowing that the next perfect step is coming when it's supposed to come.
Beautiful.
Yeah, just like in the beginning, we talked about like it's there, right? When it's
Yeah.
really pushing you, when it's meant for you, like the next step is right there. Sometimes each one step comes really quick and one takes a little bit longer. And our human self has to be patient and not want to push and go now, 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 now. But it
Exactly.
flows, it's easy when it's the right timing, right? For everything.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And so one example of that is the space. When I first saw it online, that it was something that was for rent, it had a lot of the features that I had been seeing. And I hadn't physically seen the space, but I looked at some pictures online and stuff. So I reached out to some people. They put me in contact with the landlord. We talked, and he said that he currently had a tenant who was a tenant at will waiting for their space to be available that they were moving into. So in March, when I finally looked at the space physically, they were still in it. They still didn't have a move date. Maybe it was going to be June. They didn't know, because it had been pushed off since last October, their move date. So the end of April, I finally talked to a lawyer to get the LLC, because I'm setting this up as an LLC. So I talked to her and she's like, well, do you have a letter of commitment from the landlord? And I'm like, no, is that a thing? So I have all these people that just show up and help me with what I need to know. And so I reach out to the landlord and ask him, say I'm working with a lawyer. She's asking me, if I have a letter of commitment. And he's like, no, we don't have that. But if you're really serious, let's move forward with this. I'm like, well, yeah, I am serious. The next day, the tenants move out. It's like, you can't make this stuff up. I'm like, wait a minute, that was earlier than I expected. I'm not ready yet. So it's been just one thing after another like that. So be careful when you make a move, because the next thing is going to be ready sometime sooner than you're ready for it. But because it takes a while to do a lease, which I wasn't aware of either, it's now was finalized yesterday between all the lawyers and all the parties and all of that. So now I'm meeting with them in the morning to sign the lease, give them a check, and pick up the keys.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's great. So are you going to be also doing some of the services that you are listed online, offering them from your center now?
Yes, yes. So I am very excited to be able to offer the healing work that I do, as well as all of our other practitioners. And it's going to be a very collaborative feel, because each practitioner will be highlighted in a different month for being the practitioner of the month. And we'll have, if you are a Zen mastermind level of membership, you'll get a free service with that person, and we'll do a whole bio on them. So we're really trying to build the relationships between the practitioners, the clients, and the community as a whole, because I think that we all can benefit from each of the services of people.
Great. That's wonderful. You're
Yeah,
going to have go ahead, Lori.
wonderful to have so many different people collaborate together. Just healing as a whole, right? I mean, we all come with our own, bags of tools, and others come together, and we can really, put them all together and offer, yeah, exactly what the person needs, as each person needs something different. So
Yes.
do people find this on your website, the Sage Way, or do you have a different website for the?
So currently, because part of the fundraising is to pay for that new website, currently I have developed, Circles of Joy is the name of this organization. And I have developed a tab on Sage the Way's website that has all of the Circles of Joy features, functions, what we're going to do, how to become a member. All of that is within that.
Yeah,
What a
I
great
saw
name.
that. I love that.
Thank you. So everything about this is a story. So I do art as a therapy. I learned that that's how I do a lot of breakthroughs. When I have blockages or I need to know what my next step is, I start, just bring me a canvas and I just start going at it. And things come out, never know what it's going to be. So I had this vision one day and I'm like, all right, I'm good with it. So I start drawing it. It is circles. It's like concentric circles. And I'm drawing it and feeling it. And then the next day, it was on my mind that it was time to find a domain for this. And I'm like, but I don't have a name yet. So I sit and I ask for my next step on the naming of the organization, and the name Circles of Joy comes in. So I go and I start Googling Circles of Joy and I find a domain. And I'm like, all right, I guess we're using this. And then I take that and I look at the picture and go, well, of course it is. So that's how all of those things just evolve. A lot of times I get that physical vision first, and then the words come later.
That's interesting. As an artist, you get that visual download first. That's wonderful. Yeah.
And I tell you, doing the art therapy and being able to teach others to do it, it's probably my favorite workshop to do, because just to see the people's aha moments when they go through the exercises and then they go back and look at what they've drawn and go, "Oh." And then they can feel the whole story and the energies that go with it, and they can just walk through it, and it's truly amazing how much comes out without you even thinking about it.
That's
I've
wonderful.
Yeah, I've experienced that in just a little bit of painting when you do it, and then you think, oh my gosh, there's a figure there, or there's a picture that I didn't intend. It comes through, and you're like asking that resonates with you on a deeper level than your mind.
Absolutely, and that's funny that you mentioned the faces, because nearly everything I paint ends up with a face somewhere in it. It's just like, "Who are you? Where'd you come from?" So, yeah, I totally get that.
That's so great. And that we also saw that you had co-authored a book. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that as well?
I did. So, again, you speak something and it happens. Um, 3 years ago, I started working with a coach, and one of the things we were talking about is, what do you see happening in your life? What are you looking to do? What are you feeling is coming up? And out of my mouth, before I even know that it's out of my mouth, is, I think I need to write. I'm like, why do I need to write? But yeah, so I said it. Within 2 weeks, I get a phone call from a woman in the polka dot group that I'm a part of. And this woman is like, I put together these compilation books, and your name has been on my heart. And I would like to know if you're interested in being a part of it. And I went, of course I have to say yes. Obviously we're syncing up because it came out of my mouth and now you're calling me. So um I started to write, and did not even know what she wanted me to write about, because she tries to let people just write, and then we dial it in from there, so that she doesn't inhibit anybody's process. And I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. But so I wrote the first version, and it was kind of like a la di da, here we go, this is my life. Um, and evidently I had left out the entire healing journey in that. And she's like, but I want to know more about the healing part. And I went, okay. So we started it over. Um, and that was where I learned art therapy, because I was struggling with starting over, and learned that when I had those blocks, all I had to do was paint, and the words would come to me. So the story that I put in there um, really showed me is the journey that I have had most of my life for healing. Just never realized that that's what it was. Um, I start out taking you through the last moments with my mom, who passed away when I was 24. Um, and how different parts of her cancer journey, I had been a piece of her healing and a piece of her guidance as to where she was within her illness. Um, and then I take you through some other pieces where I've lost some of my siblings, and different points within those journeys that I also saw where I felt the need to be a part of their healing. So by writing that, I learned so much about me that I was blown away. Um, and it was a really long version that they cut down because it was really too long to be in a compilation book, but it helped me to heal. It helped me to see where I have been in this healing journey much longer than I had ever expected. Um, and so the chapter that I wrote is about taking those moments. My chapter is called Breaking to Better. So being able to take each of those moments and coming out the other side with your lessons and where you're going to go next from there. So that is where I really felt that transformation came within that chapter. Was I truly felt like in these broken moments is where you can truly find the beauty of what it's teaching you and where you're going next.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And thank you for
Mhm.
sharing that. I think, we talked about connection earlier, that when we're talking to somebody, or like when you were writing, um, that it's helping somebody else in so many ways, and yet there was a reflection for you too. There was something in there for you too. And it just shows the connection that we all have, that one story can help not so many people and you at the same time. There's something there for everybody when we share
Yes.
our journey, right? I mean, I love hearing people's inspirational journey stories, and everybody's is, right? Even with the sadness in there, like you said, there's learning in all of it.
Absolutely. And I had not realized how much healing I still needed on those things when I was writing that. Um, it's probably 4 iterations before we finally published it. Um, and the final one was when I went through it, I could finally get through it without crying my eyes out. But my husband still did when he read it.
So it helped you go
So,
through the grieving process too. Yeah,
yeah,
that's,
absolutely. Absolutely.
and it helped your husband and many others, I'm sure, too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have no idea what people are going through.
No, you don't.
And that's why you always give them so much grace. At least I do. I try not to be critical of people. Um, you never know what's going on behind that facade.
That's so true. Yeah. Wow, you're amazing and inspiration just talking to you today.
Oh,
Do you
thank
have
you.
anything that you'd like to add to the conversation?
The only thing I would like to add is that I am on this mission to bring back community and to remind people to lean in and to listen when they get tapped on the shoulder, that the next right step is coming to them.
Oh, that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank
thank you. That
you.
was beautiful. So we will put your website and all of the ways to get a hold of you. I wish you the very, very best on this new center, and we will
Yes.
definitely be looking into it. I would love to take one of your art classes for starters. And thank you for what you're doing to the community. I mean, I think this is just truly, truly wonderful what you've created. And thank you for sharing your journey. I just, goes to show you, goes to show everyone that the next perfect step is there for you.
It is. You just have to listen. And thank you both for inviting me here today and just giving me that beautiful space to tell this story.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all for joining us. And until next time, how is your intuition leading you to the next perfect step?